So, a few days ago, one of the viewers asked about this rifle. I had posted a picture on Instagram. If you guys haven't been following on Instagram, we post pictures a couple times a week of various things that we're doing, and some of it is you know, stuff that's happened already, or some of the stuff is real time. But the picture was of this rifle. I had just finished zeroing it, putting this Micromax B-dot back on it, and the individual asked if I could do a video on what this gun is. And basically, to start it out, I built this gun at the height of the run on guns when Obama got elected, and it's been running strong ever since. This is actually a third barrel that's been on it. But as far as components are concerned, this was actually a Delton kit, and Delton was one of the only manufacturers at the time that was producing their own full kits at the time. So basically, my very first rifle, I literally bought a lower, put it together, bought a complete upper, and put it together, and I've since changed out a whole bunch of crap on this thing ever since. And I've been running this thing like crazy, and Wombat can vouch that we've just been running the dog snot out of this thing since it's been here. So just to state the obvious, 16-inch barrel. This is an H-bar barrel, and this is actually a 1 and 9 twist from Bravo Company. So this is actually a Bravo Company barrel that I purchased. The other previous two barrels were, the first one was obviously a Delton, an M4 profile, and the second M4 profile barrel was just some aftermarket that I just found for cheap. I think it was like 150 bucks at the time when I bought it. But then I upgraded to the H-bar barrel because I wanted to get a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more stiffness in the barrel, and also increase the amount of resilience it would have when I was heating it up. Because as you guys know, I run this gun pretty hard. If we work ourselves from forward to back here, this is a Yankee Hill Machine Phantom flash hider. I forget which generation this is, but somebody, you know, it was an early generation. I think it was a Gen 2, something like that. It was, you know, something that, you know, was just actually readily available, that was just kind of like laying around. And the reason I continue to use it is it does such a good job on flash suppression in the dark. So that's the reason I continue to use this, even though there are much more modern flash hiders out there today. This thing's doing a really good job on keeping the flash down in the nighttime shoots that we do, and it doesn't mess with any of the either night vision equipment that I'm using, or my night vision just through my eyes. It doesn't mess with your adjustment as much. If we work our way back, this is a this is a block that I ripped off of an old Rock River that we had laying around. And the reason I wanted it is because this, once I had gotten rid of my initial M4 profile barrel, it actually had the standard post on it. So I needed a gas block that was that had sights on it. So I went ahead and grabbed that thing up. It's kind of on the heavy side, but the other thing that really turns me on about this one is as a forward Picatinny rail. 3 sections of Picatinny there on the bottom that allows me to attach any kind of a light attachments or anything that I desire. I've actually punched out the forward ring. It had a little swinging ring here. I punched out the pin on that and got rid of that thing because it was just really getting in the way and jamming things up. I don't like to have those flappy things on the front of my guns. I'd like them kind of cut down and you know, not a lot of extra flair on them, if you will. If we work our way back, this is just your standard MOE forward end from Magpul, but it has the integral attachment for the forward grip. So this is their stubby VSG or VFG, and it directly integrates in here with just a single bolt that goes right up through the center and directly interfaces with the handguard. So there's no Picatinny rail attachment needed on that. The Picatinny rail attachments are available for these various ports on the side of the MOE here. If you guys aren't familiar with that, you can take implements and accessories and put them through there, and these do have full heat shields in them as well. The reason I stick with the delta ring system is because it was on there already, first of all, and second of all, the other thing about it is it keeps the weight down. So this is all polymer except for the thin heat shield that's in it, and it keeps a lot of the forward weight down, especially with this heavy profile barrel on here. This thing can get heavy if you've got a lot of extra rail on here. Moving our way back, of course, you know, like I said, this is a Delton receiver that I actually purchased at a gun shop that was down the street from my house when I was in college. It happened to just be a Delton. It was the cheapest one in the store, so I actually bought it because of that. I've had no problems with this thing, even though it's just a standard mil-spec lower receiver. It's got the Delton triangle markings on the side of it. Again, upper receivers was from the original Delton build, so it's got your standard T marks on it. You know, it seems like a decent quality upper receiver. No major issues. Again, mil spec, standard deflector as well as the forward assist. But what I've done on the lower receiver here is I've actually milled it out for the PDQ from Teal Blue Bravo, which is an ambidextrous bolt release. I've done a couple of videos on this, guys, if you haven't seen it. And basically what it does is it puts a bar all the way through and allows an extra latch to come through on the right side of or the starboard side of the receiver, so that you can just click it down and it'll release your bolt. You can also latch the bolt like that just by pushing up on it and then drop it like so. If we look at the internals here, the internals are a Rock River Arms chrome bolt carrier group, and this is just actually an artifact left over. This is from before the era of the nickel boron, so this actually predates nickel boron. That was not like a big thing in the industry when this was out. Chrome was like the thing when I actually purchased this bolt carrier group. So it's an old gun, if you will. So the only reason I haven't changed it out is because it hasn't broken yet. And I would say that's probably because of the chrome components on it. But one other thing about the chrome that I really like is it makes it really easy to clean. I'm not going to actually rip the bolt carrier group because I'll probably lose parts here in the snow. But the things I want to highlight about the bolt carrier group that I changed were I have a one-piece gas ring in it that's, instead of the 3 individual gas rings that have the ports in it that can all line up and cause gas issues. Even though that's very few and far between, it has one of those systems in it so that you can that never happens. The other thing it does is also increases the back pressure inside of the bolt carrier group as well. So I don't have a lot of problems with undergassing with this particular gun. The only other thing that's changed on the bolt carrier group itself is it has a 4x extractor strength insert in the actual extractor, so that increases the poundage of the extractor, so it holds on to things like you know, Wolf steel cased ammo a lot better than you know, if you just had a standard extractor weight. I've actually ripped the back off of cases before when I've had malfunctions that are really, really bad. If I got a jammed case or split case or something like that, I've completely ripped the back off of cases and had to rod them out with that extractor strength. So that gives you an idea of how strong that is. As far as the other ambidextrous controls that I have on here, this is a badass from Battle Arms Development. This is actually a kit that they sent me, and how it works is there's a bar that goes through here, and there's basically a star wrench that you can attach the various sides of the handle on there. I've chosen a couple different size ones on there that are a little bit out of the ordinary, and I do have a video on that too if you guys want to check that video out. I'm gonna go ahead and punch the rear pin out here real quick, and I might actually need, I'm gonna steal around from you.
Big around.
So if we come in here and take a look, this is actually the Geisley Tricon trigger. We've done a video on this one as well, but I was so impressed with this trigger that I went ahead and picked one up and went ahead and installed it in this rifle as well. This, as you can see, different as far as the way that the trigger is designed and everything. but I do believe it is a 2-stage trigger, and the take up on this particular trigger is very unique. It keeps you from punching the trigger. So there's a heavy take up here at the base, and then it hits like a glass wall right here. So you basically give it just a little bit more and she goes. So that's something a little bit unique. For those of you who've been following the channel for quite amount of time, will know that I said that I would never change from mil-spec trigger to any other kind of aftermarket trigger, just because I thought they were an ND hazard. You know, those guys with the super light competition triggers were, you know, I just felt that that was a danger to those people around me, especially if I'm working inside of a shoot house or something like that with a lot of people around me. I just didn't want to have the increased chance of having an ND until I shot the Geisley line of triggers. I was really impressed with Bill Geisley's work on those, and basically all my guns have Geisley triggers in them now. I have a national match trigger in my my special purpose rifle, and a Tricon in this one. So I've been pretty impressed with that as well. MBUS sights for backup, you know, they're just so lightweight. This is a Gen 2 MBUS sight. All you do is really press this down right here, and the sight flips up. And then if I want to, I can also just flip this up as well, and I've got that set up. These co-witness to the bottom third of the optic here, so they don't truly co-witness with the dot on the Micromax, and that's just because it's got this elevated riser on it. I prefer if a optic's going to be mounted this far forward, that it's actually up a little bit, and that's just because it kind of, when I rotate my gun over like this, it's further out of the way. So if I'm running a low ready, or yeah, like a high ready like this, the optic is way off to the side. It is not obscuring anything that is right here. That's just something niche that I do. That's not something that I suggest everybody do. If we continue to move forward or move backwards on this gun, Magpul enhanced trigger guard, and that's for situations like this. We're out here, it's cold. I run this gun all year round, and I need to be able to get a full glove finger into the gun year round, and I don't change it out ever. And it just does a good job in what it's designed to do. For a while, I had a Magpul ambidextrous sling attachment point on the back of this gun. I took it off because I like Magpul. I think they do a lot of really good products, and I think that they have a lot of great concepts. In my humble opinion, that was one of the misses of their product line. It basically had a ring that slid on a bar, and that thing just really wasn't working for me. It would get caught up when I would collapse the stock all the way in. Sometimes if you're running armor, I like to run my gun as short as I possibly can. I know that you're technically supposed to run it like here, and that's not that much difference, but sometimes, especially if you're running inside of a house or something like that, that little bit might be what you need to clear the corner. And I was actually having that lock up on me when I would secure the stock all the way forward. So I took it off. I didn't really appreciate the way that it was doing that thing, and it was also, if you guys don't know, the construction of that thing, it actually has two little blocks that you're supposed to put into the bottom of the attachment, and I actually had one of those fall out, and basically the stock could free spin even when it was attached, or the tube could free spin in the receiver, and that's just not a good situation. Even with the castle nut staked, it could still do that. So this is a Falcon grip. This is an Ergo Falcon grip, one of the early grips that was changing from the standard angle to the new angle. For instead of having bladed shooting like this, we were starting to transition to shooting more like this. So you got to remember the time frame, guys. This was a very early grip. And the other thing that I don't like is I don't like rubber. I don't like rubber grips on my gun. I want either polymer or metal or wood. I'm not really into the rubberized grips. One, you can't paint them, and two, they just feel. I feel like they interfere with my clothing a lot. Like if I feel like it's gripping here, I've had them pull mag straps like this before, rubber ones, depending on just how you pull the gun out. I like slick. You know, it has some texture on it, but it's by and large slick, and it's not going to grab anything. So that's one of the things that I just don't like to have rubber on is there. Now, if we move back a little bit farther, we have the CTR. I like this thing because this is one of the very first super lightweight aftermarket carbine stocks that were available. It does have a locking tab down here on the bottom, as well as the 6-position adjust here. Very early, once again, in the development of the AR-15 platform as far as like civilian ownership is concerned. So there wasn't a whole lot on the market that was available at the time, and still, even now in 2015, this has stood the test of time. And you can even, if you look at it, you can see the multiple layers of dirt coat on this thing, how old this thing has been. So this thing was originally black when I got it, and you can see that it's showing the black in some places. It's showing the various layers of dirt coat on it as well. And one of the things that's nice about this is, yes, this does have a rubber backstop, so it does grab onto your clothing where you want it to right here, but it's not super grippy where it's like grabbing stuff as well or bunching up in your clothing or anything. And that's one of the nice things about the Magpul profile is at the top, where it's the top and bottom where it's designed to grip. It's kind of square here at the bottom, and it's got a larger surface area at the top that allows it to kind of slide around with rifles or with plate carrier straps and stuff like that. So all in all, I keep this thing, one, because it's light, and two, because I just feel like it's quality built. One of those quality products that Magpul put out a long time ago. But as far as that is concerned, this is basically the optic for this is basically the rifle. For a while, I was running a Trijicon Reflex RX 01 on it, I do believe, for the longest time, and I still continue to do that, especially in the summertime. But with the snow, it's very difficult to pick up a dual illuminated reticled optic. It's just the way it is. If you guys aren't familiar with that, that particular optic is designed, it basically amplifies light from ambient sources and turns it into a dot. There's no batteries required, and it has a tritium core as well, so it's always on. The only problem is when you get out here in this situation, sometimes it washes it out and doesn't do very good. This allows me to independently control the various brightness levels, and it also has a kill flash on the front of it. If you guys haven't seen the full video on the Micromax B-Dot, you can check that out as well. We did that, but it's got a lot of features, and as you can see, this thing is in testing right now. I've broken quite a lot of things off of it, and that's just because I've been running it hard for about 6 months now, just trying to really find the breaking point of this thing. And I haven't found it yet. As you can see, I found the breaking point of some of the accessories that come with it, but I haven't found its actual breaking point yet. But as far as this gun is concerned, I think that this thing is going to continue to serve long term. I haven't seen any major parts breakages from it, except for I did change out the firing pin, you know, a couple thousand rounds ago. But other than that, the thing has basically stayed the same configuration throughout. It's gotten some paint jobs, maybe a few different part swaps out over time just for testing and evaluation purposes. But this is basically the setup that I run, and I'm going to continue to run this for a long period of time. It's not overtly heavy, and that's one of the things that I kind of look for in a go-to rifle, is that it's not super heavy. I can easily operate this with one arm, no problems. If I could do one thing to this thing, I would long-term maybe shorten the barrel up to maybe pin and weld so that it's right at 16 or 16.1, or maybe even short barrel rifle it to really even take that weight down even further. But all in all, this is basically the setup that I'm happy with. I'm going to continue to run this long-term for my go-to gun. Now, you're going to see lots of other guns roll into the channel for testing and evaluation purposes, and this is one of the guns that we're probably pitted against because it's been riding with me for so long and been taking all my shit and abuse without dying. So that can't be said for a lot of other guns that we've had here, as Wombat can definitely attest to. But anyway, I think what I'd like to do at this point is basically hand it over to Wombat and let him kind of critique anything that he sees that he personally thinks is wrong with it or anything that could be improved based on his experience with AR-15s.
Bolt not lock back. Okay, now the Spectre may like this gun a lot. I'm actually not a big fan of it personally with the setup he chose. The most recent build that I did, I was just going in a different direction, looking to really sacrifice a lot of weight, and he went with the H-bar barrel, which definitely makes a significant difference in that forward weight of the gun, which I really just personally kind of find to be awkward when you have the front of the gun just pulling it down away from your body. Something I'm not a particular fan of. I have rifles that I build with heavier barrels for longer range shooting, and rifles that I build with thinner barrels for more dynamics oriented stuff. He's a lot bigger guy than me though, so he is probably able to run this a little bit with a little bit more confidence, even though it does have the heavy barrel. I agree with him on the flash hider. I've got an AR with a Phantom on it, and it does a great job for the reasons he stated. The MOE and the Delta Ring system, for what he mostly uses this for is close range work, so to sacrifice the little bit of extra accuracy you get with a free floated barrel, I don't disagree with that decision. I think that's just fine. Magpul stocks are always pretty good products. I don't really have much of commentary on there except your buffer tube's loose.
Well, I do believe that's the fit now.
But and to be honest with you, I strongly dislike this grip. This hard plastic, and it's very oversized. I do have small hands, but just the opposite of his opinion, I actually prefer the rubber grips. I like those rubberized grips because even with bare hands in adverse weather conditions, I get a better grip on it. With this, there's just no give and no molding to my hand at all whatsoever, and I just find it to be a little bit of a rougher texture that's harder for me to get a grip on compared to a rubberized grip. On the upside, the PDQ MB bolt release is actually a pretty nice feature since his gun's not reliable enough to lock back on an empty mag consistently. I didn't really get to demonstrate that there, but I actually do find that to be a very nice feature, especially for locking the bolt back to inspect for a malfunction, for safe gun handling, to make sure you clear that weapon before you would show it to someone or for maintenance, something like that. I find this action, there's many different ways you could do it, but just one example of having to use the lower part of the bolt release to lock the bolt back. It's just inherently a little bit of a more complicated procedure than to just do that.
And earlier in the video, guys, I mentioned you know, Magpul being a great company and, you know, producing a lot of quality products, but their bad lever is another one of those products that I just absolutely hate. And I hate I don't like the whole premise of putting something inside the trigger well that is going to, you know, that you're going to be manipulating the same direction as you would be manipulating the trigger, no less, to actuate your bolt. That's just not something that I like. I think it's an ND hazard, and I just personally think it's a miss. So that was actually when I saw that product come out, the PDQ, I jumped on it immediately because I felt it was a common sense, great alternative with just a little bit of milling that needed to be done. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no problem. The only other thing that I want to say that I'm not a big fan of is actually the ambidextrous safety. I do not have an ambidextrous safety on any of the AR-15s I own. A couple of the other guys are running those. I personally like to, even if I have my safety on, I always maintain good trigger finger discipline, and it tends to be a problem with any ambidextrous safety I've used. Even though this one is a little bit lower profile, it still catches my finger there. If I'm pressing that flush with the lower receiver, I actually have to do, there could be pretty easy for me to say my safety's on, I rotate and disengage for that to catch. It's actually not all, now it's all the way forward. I had to give it a pretty big boost for that.
So you definitely hit it right on the nail right on the top of the head there. That's why that particular bead on that side was used because it is so low profile.
Yeah, you can definitely see there is a difference between each one. I just personally, I would not consider myself to be a firearms expert, but I've done a lot of running and gunning, a lot of different kinds of shooting, and I've never really experienced a situation where I felt that I needed to have that ability there.
It's few and far between. Now that said, that particular selector that's on the starboard side, it does get lower profile than that. There is one even smaller than that I could not actuate actually.
Yeah, it's not something I personally am interested in on any of the guns that I've built so far. But to each his own there. As far as the overall feel of the gun goes, I just think that for his purpose with this, and I do like to run my stock out a little bit further than he does, but the overall feel of the gun, I still think that for a shorter range gun, I understand he's looking to be cost effective to get more barrel life out of it, but I don't really run my guns as hot as he does, so I have less of a need for that based on my style of shooting. But on a gun like this that's unmagnified, I would rather drop down to a lighter barrel that I just find more appropriate for close range, fast work. But even though I do not have this on a rifle I've built yet, I do like the feel of the MOE and the matching Magpul VFG for it. Personally, this particular hold feels very natural to me and does help keep recoil down. I'm pretty satisfied with that. It's a little wobbly in a couple of spots.
It is about as wobbly as an AK-47.
Yeah, it's been through a lot of shit, but it's served pretty well with him. I have not seen really any major reliability issues with this particular gun. I mean, it's an AR. Sometimes it goes without cleaning for a while. Every once in a while we'll see a hiccup on it, but overall it's been a pretty solid gun. Just not something that I personally would choose to build this way, but I've always had a lot of fun with it when I've ran it. So two different people, two different schools of thought, and maybe even two different styles of shooting at play with how he chose to build his gun versus the most recent AR build that I've done. So that's why I don't like it.
Right. I think we do have a video on your most recent lightweight build. We'll go ahead and link that as well.
Yeah,
we might need to
fully upgraded form in that particular video. We did do some more cosmetic oriented stuff to it, but for the most part, the information's there in that video.
Yeah, we'll probably reshoot that. I think it's got a little bit more evolution to go through, and then we'll probably do another video on that here coming up this year sometime, once all those upgrades are finalized and complete. You have a little bit of testing to do in the current configuration.
Yeah, that particular gun's only been operational for about a little over half a year, and so we'd like to get closer to a full year of testing in it after it's gone through a winter and at least one full summer before we try to tell you whether or not I got what I wanted out of that build or not. We'd like to expose it to some different variety of conditions before we really give you a verdict there.
Right. Now, that gun that you got in your hand is 5 years old.
Yeah.
So
this is actually the first AR-15 I ever held in my hand.
6 years old, actually. Now
back.
Yeah. This June it'll be 6. So, yeah. So
it's a veteran.
It is. But yeah, guys. Once again, thanks for watching. I do really appreciate you guys. And the other thing about it is the reason this video was done is because a viewer requested it. If you guys have videos that you guys want to see, like this one, I realized that I just had never done a video on this particular gun before. If you guys see something that you see us run on a regular basis and you guys want to know about it, ask. And maybe we'll put it on the list to do if it's something that we're interested in, if it's something that we've completed testing on. Because this one would have completely slipped through the cracks, and I appreciate you guys, keeping us honest on that, and definitely some information for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and it'll help you guys influence your AR-15 building in a positive light. Fucking hate PMags. Don't ever put those in my gun again.
They work fine for me.
They didn't lock back.
Your gun didn't
No,
lock
my
back.
gun was running fine with Colt mags.
Any gun that I own that is compatible with that magazine, and it will lock back.
No,
fine.
PMags are junk. Don't use those. Another one of those Magpul products is just
I like PMags. I run them.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
I do. I run. I don't have a problem. I know people bitch about PMags. I run them.
These Colt mags that I
have
these are
some of those,
BCM
but
mags.
I like the PMags.
These are BCM mags. That early BCM mags, and I Duracoated them yellow, so that yeah, the banana clip. I got lots of that, but no, the reason they're yellow is because throw it on the ground. You know, you're gonna pick that out even if it's out there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously black does okay in the winter, but you know,
in high grass, that's
invisible.
Yeah, so that's why those were done that way.